I never made it home without my phone intact.
Mm.
Even if I was 20, 30 minutes away and I had 3% on my phone and I was draining energy, I always got back before my phone died.
Mm.
And the one time I didn't, a friend was meeting me with the charger already, and we had preset the time and location. And I would pray every day on the bus. I would be there and I'd be like, oh my gosh, Lord, how am I going to get back? I'm panicking. And then I would recite the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. And I would say that over and over and over and over and over again in my head. And I did that for a month straight. Mind you, every day for a month straight. By the end, I wasn't really panicking. I was just sitting there not knowing if I was going to get home, but believing I would.
Welcome to Extraordinary Stories. I'm your host, Forbes Shannon. With me today,
Christine Butler.
And in studio, we have the director of Canyon Angels and just a really bright young entrepreneur. And I'm really excited to see all the stuff that you're going to build. Isabelle Cutuli. Isabelle, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, Forbes.
I nominated you to be on Extraordinary Stories. How do you know me? How do we know each other?
It's a great question. So I think it goes back to a certain venture cafe where Canyon Angels wanted some mentors, and I believe you signed up for that, and we kind of got the chance to talk. And then Daniela Santiagello had the Tech Talent Summit last semester, and I was able to do a little bit of co-hosting there, and you kind of showed me all of the MC ropes and, helped me with all the nerves and got me away from the weird people trying to get me to put their companies into Canyon Angels. And so from there, just, got the chance to know each other a little better. And here I am.
At the event, the people who typically have me MC these events, these pitch competitions around town, at one point, Isabelle just starts calling out sponsors like she's buying time, and thanks to our sponsors. And my buddy who's sitting next to me, one of the organizers, Chris Fox, he's like, dude, you're out of a job. I know, dude. I know. She's a natural.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
You're on the stage. What else are you going to do, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to be a superstar.
Yes.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
And then, with your work at Canyon Angels, you direct all of those events as well.
I do, yes. So I've been a part of Canyon Angels for a total of, 3 years now. I started as a student analyst and presenter, so went up and did the presentations on the startup companies, did our due diligence, and then I went into investor relations. I got the opportunity to talk to the investors and send out the emails and do a bunch of the background stuff. And then this past year, I've gotten to be the director. So I do get a little bit of doing the MC kind of thing at the events themselves and just all of the responsibilities. But it's been really good. It's not easy, but I love Canyon Angels, so I'm glad to see it grow.
So, have you always been a leader amongst your peers?
In some ways, yes, and in some ways, no. I definitely had the drive to want to be a leader, but my confidence boost kind of got shot in high school, where I was a part of speech and debate for 6 years, and I loved it. I put so much into it, more than was healthy. Let's be honest here.
Okay.
There's a bit of a competitive spirit inside of me, and never really reached, I guess, probably the potential that I could have, just culture issues and never really putting in the amount of work. And so I kind of came away from that being like, it doesn't matter how much I work or how long I'm in something, I won't be able to take a position of leadership. And then coming into college, I had to completely revamp my idea of leadership of not just the best person in the room, but the one who cares about all of the other people in the room the most, the one who cares about the direction, who understands everything at the high level. And so in Canyon Angels, it was just me being there, staying there, taking responsibilities that didn't need to be taken, and just the natural process of students graduating. And I think I always wanted to be a leader, but now I think I've learned to be a leader. It's a very different process.
In your definition, what's a leader? What's a good leader?
Oh, well, there's a lot of different things you can say about a leader. My mom always used to say that a leader is someone who works harder than everybody else. And I would say that that's definitely a huge part of it. It's the person who seeks to understand the people that they're working with and work harder than them so that they can do their job better. It's the person who, I guess, builds something that allows all of the people working with them to work at their peak.
Mm.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah, for sure.
I love that. I always think that you should never work harder, but work smarter. And I think it's going to take a long time for anyone to get to that point where they realize yes, work hard, be the hardest working person, but do it in the smartest way.
Very true. I think the culmination of that is to work smarter and harder.
Yeah.
And then realize what you're doing it for. And that is where you get that. Because, I mean, of course you want to work smarter, because if you're just putting in brute effort and getting nothing out of it, then none of it really matters.
Right.
But if you are able to find what key makes that workable and then have the thing behind you that makes you able to keep pushing, then you can really make the most difference. And so that's kind of what I've been seeking to grow into. Not that I'm there. I don't think many people are, but it's a lifelong journey.
Well,
a fun one.
A common red thread that we have on Extraordinary Stories is a lot of people who start their company or start their movement starts from solving a problem for themselves. So, what was that thing that you were looking to solve that got you into Canyon Angels?
Honestly, I started Canyon Angels because I missed something that let me do heavy amounts of analyst role and presentation. I loved presentations. I speech and debate. You do a lot of those. I loved research and analysis, and I didn't really have anything beyond just doing the best in what I was given. But when I got the opportunity to go into leadership, that's when things got a little bit different. And I realized that Canyon Angels didn't have a lot of processes in place that allowed the students from one generation to build on the previous. So we were given a leadership team that just had to figure it out.
Yeah.
Which is very startup, but we've been around for 11 years. And that's not exactly yes, there's high turnover because students graduate every 3 to 4 years. They drop out. They change what they're doing. So we have leadership changing every semester, sometimes mid-semester. But there was no process in place to make that standard. And since there was no standardization, it was like we were a eternal startup company that never had a chance to grow past just figure it out. Maybe somebody gives you some advice. So I started to try and put in place a training for who took me over in investor relations. And we've spent this entire year trying to reorganize Canyon Angels so that we can be more student outreach based, so that we can actually do interviews and bring people in who want to be there, who are skilled, who won't leave on a whim, and also be able to train the next set of leaders. And I think we've really been able to accomplish that. I'm so proud of the students that I've been working with, and the ones that we're bringing in are going to do great things the next couple of years.
Isabelle, you care.
Yes. That's why I'm still here.
Yeah, you care. I mean, it takes someone who cares to actually want to provoke change in something.
I mean, it's such an opportunity that I've been given, and such amazing students that I've gotten to work with. I can't imagine doing anything but everything that I can to make them have the best opportunity. I feel like I would be heavily disappointed in myself if I didn't. So I definitely strive to make everything that we come in contact with better. I don't think I always get the chance to do that, but in this case, I have enough time and enough mental energy and enough awareness to give it a shot.
So you said you have 45 days until you graduate.
Roughly.
45 days. Okay. So can you see what your future looks like?
Absolutely not.
Okay. I love that answer, by the way, because it'd be weird if you did.
Yeah, I think
Where
so
do you
too.
see it going? Where do you want it to go?
Oh, well, I want to work in something that works with people and also challenges me intellectually. I want to work with, this is why I'm looking into finance right now, wealth management specifically, because I find the economy fascinating. I find finance fascinating. I've been reading economics books since I was 10, and that's something I could grow into, but it's it's so very emotional. People's connection with their money and their finances, and ultimately that money comes from companies. They're on the stock market, or if you're doing early stage investment, then startup companies, which is what we've worked with in Canyon Angels. There's a lot of um, passion projects and emotions, and trying to understand where those things collide with people's wealth and their choices to grow their wealth. It's a beautiful connection of analytics and interpersonal skills. And so I'd love to work in something that helped me do that, helps me build relationships. I think I'll never be satisfied with any job that would not let me have the opportunity to know people and to build long term relationships and to understand communities. And so I want to do something that lets me do that. Um, Hopefully in the future, want to get married, you have kids. There's so many dreams that I have. But right now, all I can see is that I need to graduate,
Mm-hmm.
that I need to find a job,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know, God will take care of the rest.
Mm. How do you balance the left and right side of your brain and using both of them and training both of them? Because you pulled these two different
Yeah.
things together, and that's what excites you is when you get to use both.
Yeah, it's hard. I don't know. I have a quote on my phone somewhere, and I'm gonna mess this up. So it's not a quote of someone else, just something that I had thought of once, which is it's like I ask questions as a poet or a philosopher and expect responses as a researcher.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I do like to write poetry, but also I write definitions of things because I want to define something.
Yeah.
And so there's always these two battles of analysis
Mm-hmm.
and creativity. And I think the most beautiful things in the world are the ones that combine the both of them, because everybody tries to separate things in half, put stuff in boxes. But I mean, I study interpersonal communications, and there's nothing that's more logical and irrational
Yeah.
than human beings
100%.
that have a computer in their head
Mm-hmm.
and yet make all of their decisions with their heart. It's
Right.
It's poetic.
It's poetic. It's messy. It's also highly analytical a lot of times.
Right.
Like there's so many data points that are brought together, and at the same time, it's beautiful. And so I don't know how I balance it. I just kind of do what you do and figure it out, I guess.
Yeah.
That's the worst response for the analytical
that
side
was
of my
great.
brain.
That's I love that response
Yeah.
because my next question is existing in ambiguity, like how do you do that and what has ambiguity taught you? Because, you said a couple things so far, like I know these things, God will take care of the rest. You say, yeah, it's beautiful and it's messy, and then, as you so eloquently said, you just do what you do.
It's my best quote yet. Write that down.
Where does that, what has ambiguity taught you?
Yeah. So first off, I'm awful at it. I think we should start with that.
Mm.
This has been actually probably the theme of the year in a lot of ways. And I mean the school year,
Mm-hmm.
to clarify, not like this year,
Yeah.
but like the school year. So last summer, I had this wonderful opportunity to do a study abroad in Rome. And so I was there, and just because I don't know why I'm silly, I decided to not buy a portable charger. And by the time I realized halfway through I should probably have one, I went, I've lasted this far without one. I should probably be fine for the next couple weeks. So I was there every day on buses and tram rides and in the middle of the streets of Rome. And I have a great sense of direction, except if I'm in Rome. That
Right.
place is so confusing. By myself, trying to get to class. Class is at a different place every day. Don't speak the language. And I would get on whatever bus it is and have the maps open on my phone, and my phone would be at like 10%, 6%, 3%, and I'd be an hour from home. I never made it home. I never made it home without my phone intact.
Mm.
Even if I was 20, 30 minutes away and I had 3% on my phone and I was draining energy, I always got back before my phone died.
Mm.
And the one time I didn't, a friend was meeting me with the charger already. And we had preset the time and location. And I would pray every day on the bus. I would be there and I'd be like, oh my gosh, Lord, how am I going to get back? I'm panicking. And then I would recite the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. And I would say that over and over and over and over and over again in my head. And I did that for a month straight. Mind you, every day for a month straight. By the end, I wasn't really panicking. I was just sitting there not knowing if I was going to get home, but believing I would.
Yeah.
And this entire year has been moments like that. This entire year has been, I'm a day away from my capstone research project. I don't know who's going to show up. I don't know if I have the numbers, how I'm going to make it work, how I'm going to get anything. And I'm panicking. And then I sit down, pray about it. And I go, well, it's going to happen anyways. And then we do it. And so it's been so many of those moments in my interpersonal relationships, my friends, family, boyfriend, in my schoolwork, in my projects, in everything to do with Canyon Angels has been the biggest corporate mess in so many ways. You're trying to rewrite how you're doing stuff and working with campus in new ways, and nobody likes it.
Yeah.
And I've had to live with so much ambiguity, and I'm such a control freak. And yet, God is so good, because every single moment that I've been freaking out, I have also been learning to hold the unknown and to keep walking. And so I'm terrified, absolutely terrified about what's going to happen in the next month and a half. Because I have so many dreams and I want them so badly. But all I know is that it's going to be okay. And that right now, not knowing is the healthiest thing. Otherwise, I would know.
Right. And in that uncertainty, that's where the fun is.
Yet to learn that part.
That's where the fun is. Okay.
But yes.
You know, I lived abroad. I lived in South Korea.
Oh, wow.
And I had the same situations because I was a 45-minute train ride from Seoul to my house. And there were times where my phone did die. And the beautiful thing about human beings is that they want to help.
Yes.
Right. And so it was like, I'm kind of like you. It's all going to work out. You know, God's got my back.
Exactly.
And he always has.
He always has. And let me tell you, the coolest story that I have from that trip is I decided to take a day trip to Assisi by myself. This was the only trip that I took outside of Rome without any other people around me that I knew who could speak English. And so I get to Assisi, I realize you have to pay coins for the bus, so I pay some coins for the way up, but I don't have enough for the way down. So I spend the day walking, it's like 95 outside, I'm dying, and Assisi is on a giant hill. So I'm walking around, I walk to, there's a basilica there that's very, very famous, it's St. Francis of Assisi's Basilica, and then I walk up to, there's a medieval fortress at the top of the hill, and I'm walking around, and I decide it's probably time to head home. So I realize I don't have enough money for the bus back, so I'll walk down the hill. I walk down the hill, get back to the bus station, and or not the bus, but the train. And I get on the train, and everything's good. And I'm sitting there, and there's this guy that walks by me, and he looks at me, and he says something in Italian to me. Now, this has been happening a lot since about 2 weeks into Rome, when I stopped like looking up and gaping, everyone's like, oh, she's probably Italian, because I'm just chilling. I'm like, oh, I know this street, so I'm fine. And I look a little Italian because my grandpa, so everybody's like, she's probably Italian. They keep asking me things in Italian, and I keep looking at them like, no, I can't do that, sorry. And then he looks at me, and then he repeats it in English. He's like, oh, you should move your bag in case somebody tries to grab it. Oh, thank you. So I move my bag over, and then, I don't know, 20 minutes later, train breaks down. There's smoke. I'm in the middle of the Roman countryside, unknown distance from home. It's night, and they are telling us things in the loudspeakers in Italian, but they're not translating it to English. Normally, there is an English translation, but this is an emergency broadcast. So I look over like, I don't know what the heck to do. And then I see the guy who talked to me in English walks up, sees a family of 4, and starts talking to them in English. Like, you're my man. So I walk over there and I'm like, hey, could you tell me what's happening? And can I follow you for the entire time that we're here? Oh, not exactly like that, but that was in my heart. And And so we ended up getting like 7 American stragglers. That guy could speak Italian, and we were all just following him like lost baby ducks.
Yeah.
And yeah, we were like, do we all get an Uber together? We're an hour away. Like, what do we do? What do we do? And we eventually waited. And then about an hour later, another train comes and picks everybody up, takes us there. And I got the opportunity to talk to some of the people that we met there just for the train ride home. And it was the most amazing community of completely lost Americans
Mm-hmm.
who trauma bonded together because they didn't have anyone, they didn't have any understanding of what was going on. They didn't have any way to help themselves. Just one guy who could speak Italian helping a bunch of lost people. And that was one of the coolest, like, mini found family experiences that I got to have. And it was all because I realized at one point I was going to be okay and just enjoyed the experience when I was there. So that was a long tangent. Sorry about that.
No, but it's so understandable, right? And relatable to a lot of people. When you just know it's going to work out, you're good.
Yeah.
It does work out when you think that.
It's true. And it's all going to work out in the end, but it's hard to get to this space where you can accept that. So it's been a long journey, still working on it.
Yeah. It's a long, forever journey. So what about your master's? Or you can't even think of that right now?
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not?
Probably not. Maybe I've had like there's a small part of me that wants to go to law school just to say I did, but I'm less interested in the whole lawyer part and more about the classes themselves. So that's probably like I don't know, post-mother Isabelle thing to do when I'm like 50.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, just to take the classes, right?
Yeah.
Like,
sounds so fun.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. But to you, it does, and that's remarkable. Where does that desire to learn come from?
I was homeschooled, so it never got beaten out of me. I did competitive speech and debate, so I learned how to read a lot of really hard documents really young. We were reading through tons of government documents. HR 2513 was a bill that never got passed that I ran as a mandate, and I read all 50 pages of that. So I learned how to pull interesting information from hard documents. I grew up with a love of reading. And in college, I was able to take a class as part of my major when I switched to communications that was, it's called argumentation and advocacy, but it was really just logic and rhetoric. And I got to take an entire class where you broke down sentences in the most stupid way possible so that you could pull out the very base arguments in all of them and realize how most arguments you thought you knew what they meant and you were wrong.
Oh, I love that.
And it was so interesting, and everybody would look at the different forms of the sentences. It would be like, a lion is not non-herbivorous, and everyone's staring at it like, what the heck am I looking at? And I would be looking at that like, this is good stuff. And so it was kind of at that point that I was like, oh, I really like intricate information. I like the meshing of philosophy and wordplay and logic, and it's a little bit of math in there too. And so I guess the math of the English language is fascinating to me. Not exactly grammar. Well, I do like grammar now. I used to hate it, but then I read enough books that it kind of got embedded in there somewhere. But it's like that is so cool because it builds everything we say.
Right. And before this, we were talking about our favorite books.
We were.
So we both share a love for Jane Austen.
She's amazing.
She's amazing. But her style of writing is timeless.
Yes.
It is art.
It's so amazing. And she managed to capture the nature of humans.
Right. Mr. Darcy, his complex.
He's got so many layers to them. And even characters like Mrs. Bennet, who is absolutely chaotic. She builds layers into that you don't even see until you reread. The first Jane Austen book I read was Pride and Prejudice, the annotated edition.
Okay.
You can find this online if you want. It's about this big. And it's because half of the book is the book.
Right.
And the other half is notes about the era and the choices that Jane Austen made. So you could understand everything. And I was like 12 or something. And I would just read through and be able to understand all of this context. And you understand just how rich and witty she is.
Right. And ahead of her time.
Completely ahead of her time.
Yeah.
And she managed to make social commentary books. that were
Mhm.
they everyone calls them either classics or romance, but they're actually very much just a social
For
commentary of the
sure.
time,
Mm.
of people, of what it means to grow as individuals, what healthy relationships look like and what they don't look
For
like.
sure.
Mhm.
And she really put so many morals into it, but so skillfully it didn't feel
And she
moralized.
was like a rebel, you know, for her time. She
Mhm.
really was just this pioneer rebel. So much so that she wasn't like she never even like she became famous after her death,
Yeah.
right? Like she didn't even want her name out there.
Yeah, well, she published her books under the
Mhm.
title A Lady.
Yes.
And this is actually a somewhat common practice of the era.
Yeah.
So she would publish under a lady because when people would see that, it meant a genteel lady, so
Right.
that they knew that the book was going to be appropriate for the genteel audience.
Mhm.
And if it was just a woman's name, then they would be like, oh, she could be scandalous or
Right.
something. But
Mhm.
since she was a gentle lady, she published under that name. Everybody could read the book and say, oh, this will be proper for my young child.
Right.
Mm.
And I believe it was either her brother or her sister
It
after her death. I don't
I think it was
remember.
her nephew.
Oh, that would have been it, who finally told the world who she was.
Yeah.
And
Thank God.
yeah, I know. It was just such an amazing ability to capture people.
Mhm. Mhm.
I have always looked up to that.
Yeah.
It's something that I think having that deep understanding of also being able to make fun of people, but truly understand them.
Yeah. That's an art.
It's such an art.
Yeah. Mhm.
So speaking of people understanding, and
Mm.
you said a model of healthy relationships, unhealthy relationships, of morality. But I want to ask you a question. A word you were saying a lot earlier about argue.
Mm.
How do you argue?
How do I argue? Oh, what a fascinating question. I don't a lot anymore.
Okay.
I used to,
Mm.
almost a second nature.
Mhm.
I was a headstrong young high school girl, with who butt heads very much with her family. Strong
Who went to speech
personalities.
and debate? Yeah.
Did 6 years of speech and debate. Learned
I
how to
did
do
4,
it.
so I see some similarity.
Learned how to do it better. Can we call it better? Learned how to do it more energetically, perhaps,
Mm.
with a little bit more reason behind it, but not enough to realize where she's wrong. And I came into college with a lot of just, I would almost call it like there's a fiery anger energy that can come out of some speech and debate.
Mm.
Mhm.
And the first class that I took was conflict and negotiation, Dr. Nolan. And I completely was able to rework how I came into conflict. And no longer was I arguing, no longer was I debating, but now I was doing a healthy form of conflict where you're seeking to understand and to look into the person, see what their ideals are. And a lot of the time, what I've learned is it's not worth
Yeah.
it. It's just, this is another thing with Jane Austen. There's a scene where Elizabeth remarks that she's surprised that Mr. Darcy is bantering an idea with her because she realizes that it's his way of respecting her mind.
Mhm.
And there's a different scene where he kind of politely turns his back to her mother because he doesn't respect her viewpoint enough to debate her on the subject.
Mm.
And in a lot of ways, I think there's something we can pull from that, which is that some people are not worth the debate, because if I'm going to have a debate with somebody, I want it to be cordial. Even if we disagree completely, I want to learn from you. I want you to learn from me, and I want that to be our goal. I want to be able to fully understand where you're coming from. I don't want this to get upset
Mhm.
because it's a passing of ideas. It doesn't mean that I have to dislike you or you have to dislike me. And when you're dealing with negotiation, a lot of the time it's you help the other person and yourself deal with the emotions first so then you can get to the problem.
Mm.
And I mean, you pick your battles. Like if I'm going to negotiate or if I'm going to debate with people, I want to enjoy myself. I don't need to be upset. I don't need you to be upset. And some things just don't matter. So I don't do a lot of it these days.
Good. Yeah. I mean, I guess the best way to negotiate is to listen.
Yes.
And you said something there that was curious to me. Um, you want people to learn from you. What do you hope people are learning from you?
Hmm. I guess it's dependent on the situation. At the most, I hope people that I talk to learn that I'm quite bad at this, but learn that I care about them
Mm.
and that that comes from outside of me. I only have so much capacity as myself. I want people to understand that I'm a vessel for God's love. And again, I'm not saying I'm any good at this, but that's the ideal. That I mean, I hope I come into conversation with people and they're able to understand themselves better, to understand God better, and maybe to just enjoy themselves, learn something about a topic they hadn't, or find a new avenue of a topic that they haven't. But at the end of the day, like, I'm just a young girl who has this much to offer the world. And even that is generous. But I mean, I'm here for whatever reason God put me here. I'm in my life for a purpose. I'm continually seeking that purpose. And I hope that the interactions that I have with people around that reflect. If it doesn't, then I've failed.
Mm.
But I'm also human, which means that in a sense, everything is a little bit of a failure.
It's interesting to me that you said twice there, you said, I'm bad at this or I'm quite not good at this, when it was about making other people feel that you care for them, which in my experience of you has not been true. But I'm curious why you would think that.
Everybody is most aware of their own failings.
Mm.
Everybody looks at themselves and sees the times that they were unable to accomplish something or the times that they could have accomplished something better. I hold myself to a standard that I will never reach.
Mm.
And the reason why is because if I put a cap to that standard, then there's a day I'll stop growing.
Mm.
So my standard is to be like Christ, and I will never reach that. So I'm never going to stop growing. But that also means that there's a lot of understanding of the failure that's there. So I will always try to be more of that person.
Hmm.
But I will not always succeed, so I can't say that I'm good at it.
Yeah. Give yourself grace, Isabelle. You're an amazing human. You're an amazing human. I do got a little bit of a question for you because it was asked of me when I was at GCU. So God is a God of love. We know
Yes.
that. But why does he give us bad?
Why does he give us bad?
Yeah, bad in the world, right?
Yes.
I'm not saying that he gives us bad.
Well, yes.
There is
Why
bad in
is
the
there
world.
bad in the world? Okay, so how do I put this? There's a friend of mine whose mom unfortunately passed away when we were very young. But that friend had given her mom had given her a diagram for this question. And I always go back to that diagram because it really helps me understand a little bit more of the world and kind of sort through my ideas. So I'll walk you through it. So imagine that the world is a circle. And in that circle, there are a bunch of stick figures, and that's us. And then outside that circle is God. And the people in the circle are happy, and the people outside of and the God outside of the circle is happy, and everybody's happy, and we're having a good time. Now, because God didn't want to make a group of people who were just there to like follow his every whim, they had to choose him. They had to choose to love him. They had to choose to follow his will. He decided to let them do as they pleased. And so one day, one of the people in the circle dragged a black box into this circle. And then this black box, when there is even one black box in the circle, that black box makes everyone in the circle sad. And everyone is upset in this circle because there's a black box there. And it causes all sorts of havoc in the circle. And so God looks at that black box and he says, well, I'll just take it away then. I'll take away the black box and then you can go back to being happy because I don't like that you're unhappy. Because I want you to be happy. I made you to have joy and to love me and for me to love you. And so he goes to grab the black box, but then what he realizes is that the one who brought it into the circle decided to bear hug it. with his arms and legs. And the moment that one of the people in the box bear hugs the box, they're stuck to it and they can't unstick themselves. And so as this happened, more black boxes started appearing, and all of the people decided to hug the black boxes. Even though the black boxes made them sad, they wanted it, so they did it. And God realized that he couldn't take the black boxes out of the circle without taking the people with it. The only way to take them was to destroy the ones who were hugging it. And so what he did is he gave them a way to get unstuck from the boxes. He gave them the anti-glue. Yeah. And so they had this option to let go of their boxes. But he realized that some of them wouldn't take it. And remember, if one box is in the circle, everyone in the circle is sad. So he did one other thing. He created a time ultimatum. He said, I'm going to give you up until a certain time to let go of your black boxes. And on that day, I will take them all out of the circle, whether or not you're holding on to them. But I'm going to do everything in my power to make you let go of the boxes until then. I'm going to give you every opportunity. I'm going to work in your lives. I'm going to put that glue everywhere. You can't miss it. But it's still your choice. And then that's the day that we call the day of Revelation, the end times, when God comes in and takes away all of the sin from the world. And because every bad thing that happens, and this even follows through the idea of why do natural disasters happen, right? That doesn't seem like it's caused by humans. But you have to understand that the curse of sin is that creation rebels against man. So the curse of there being sin in this world is that we rebelled against God, who has dominion over us. Therefore, the earth rebels against us, and we have dominion over it. And so because there is even just one act of sin in this world, there is destruction everywhere. One act of rebellion against God, the one who created us. And so it's not that God doesn't want us to be in a world where we're free of pain. It's that he wants us to choose him. Otherwise, it's not a relationship at all. Every relationship we're here is because I chose to come here for this podcast and you chose to invite me. And if I didn't choose to be here, that's forced. God wants us to love him, and that has to be a choice. And so the only way for that to work is that he gives us an opportunity to let go of it. But he also has to give a day where it's going to be gone. So it will be. There will be no sin. There will be no pain, no disaster. But not yet. Because he doesn't want to destroy everyone.
That's a great answer. I was going to say something more like, because then there'd be nothing to compare good to. That was really good.
We asked this question of everyone that comes on Extraordinary Stories. If there, and you've given so much advice already, but if there was one piece of advice that you could give our listeners that they could use today to live more extraordinarily, what would it be?
The only way you're going to find any fulfillment out of life is if you understand why you were there. You understand for what purpose that you have been created and what next steps that you need to make. You will do everything in your power to get what you want out of life. You will be the most successful person in the world, make all of the money, have every car that you can imagine, the new solar cars, the Teslas, every watch, every house, every relationship that you want, and you will always feel empty inside unless you are doing what you were created to do. And the thing that you were created to do is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul. So until you're able to figure out where that fits into your life, you're always going to be a little empty inside. And I think human beings are so complex and they're so beautiful and they're so connection oriented because they were made for that. So unless you truly understand what it means to be beyond yourself, you will always be running short.
Mic drop.
I love that.
She's teaching us something,
Uh,
Forbes.
for sure, man. You can read more about Isabelle Cutuli at joyextraordinary.com. That's JoyExtraordinary.com, and all our socials at Join Extraordinary. I'm Forbes Shannon.
I'm Christine Butler.
And I'm Isabelle Cutuli.
Great. We'll see you next time.